Same thing, if you got a question, raise your hand, let us know who you are, and fire away.
Todd, Ben, nice job on the pitch. One thing, and we've talked before, it keeps coming back into my mind, what's the competitive landscape look like, especially from those other providers who are already sort of concentric circle, side of the space where they might not be directly providing what you're contemplating here, but they could easily, sort of enhance their products to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. So the question is, what's the competitive landscape like? And in particular, I'm assuming, can any of these other competitors enter into the space very quickly and easily? And I showed you the practice management systems, the Epics, the Cerners, the Athena House, Practice Fusion, but then we're all getting appointment reminders now that are generally sent out by companies called Telebox. And that's actually our criteria for going to a customer. Do you already have an appointment reminder system in place? And what we do is we actually send out the final reminder and then create a bridge between the Teleboxes of the world and the practice management system. And right now, we are the only company doing exactly that. And we feel that our sales cycles are going to be considerably shorter than typical practice management systems and appointment reminder systems. I'm closing sales on the phone, and I'm not a salesperson. We see these would-be competitors as really our distribution partners and collaborators that are going to get us the kind of scale that we need for venture capital returns.
And David Oliver, just that more of a follow-up question. So we're talking barriers to entry. There aren't any, there are some.
Well, fundamentally, I believe this is a distribution game. We do have a provisional patent on what we call punctuality scoring. And the notion here is that middle-aged white guys show up to their appointments on average 15 minutes early. Parents of small children, 10 minutes late. College kids, 15 minutes late if they show up at all. So what you want to do is you want to take the most punctual patients, put them early in the day, at least have a protocol suggesting that they get those earlier slots. So that's our provisional, that's part of the entire system. Right now we're using it just as a big stick. Yes?
I can get yourself just about that company that was bought by Intuit thing. What exactly did they do? They had a huge exit.
Mm-hmm.
Why is nobody else, copying that, doing what you're doing? So,
Sure. Yeah, so they were really a first generation appointment reminder system that got a big distribution contract in the dental industry, and then they grew it over 5 years to $37 million and sold it to Intuit for $420 million. I think the answer is really that this is a fragmented landscape with a lot of different practice management systems and a lot of different verticals. It's something that takes quite a patchwork quilt to put together distribution with those kind of partners. Something that been very successful with in the past in automotive, partnering with shop management systems, which is kind of my proxy. I guess so without those distribution contracts, it's really hard to crack the nut. Yeah. Yes.
First off, great presentation. My name is Nicholas. I don't have a child, I have a niece, and even that's enough of her illnesses is enough to get me sympathetic to what you're going to empathize with that situation. But I'm curious, when you go to a new hospital or a new clinic, what are some of the roadblocks do you encounter of, hey, I have this new app, this new technology? Do you find yourself dealing with a bunch of Luddites, or is there other types of resistance?
Yeah, really. So normally I go in and I ask the question, can you tell me about your no-shows? And generally the answer is, it's not that big of a deal, maybe 5%. And then I'll ask, what's your average revenue per patient? And get the answer, 600, 650, thereabouts. How many patients per doctor per day? 30. How many doctors do you have here? 15. And then I'll say, that's a $2.7 million opportunity, not just revenue, because you're paying your doctors to be on staff already, and you're paying for the lights to be on in the office. So, I mean, it's truly incremental profit that we're looking to provide. And at that point, usually they lean into the table, and then I can proceed with my demo and full attention. I found the most successful sales meetings is when I have a CEO and then kind of the overall practice manager at the table at the same time, just talking with the CEO or just talking with the operations person. It generally requires a second meeting, but when I have the two of them in the office at the same time, then they tend to be pretty short meetings with follow-ups.
So is your platform just a appointment scheduler, or is there going to be other add-on information there? Like, is the patient's information going to be on there so that the doctors can see who it is, what their symptoms are, if they can prepare earlier, or how do you see that building out?
Yeah, so initially, we do not want to be the appointment scheduler. We want to be pretty agnostic and just get a stream of appointments coming from whatever system to flow through our app, and then we'll send out the final reminder. Now, there are a lot of potential add-ons here, including things like real-time patient satisfaction surveys. Some of the clients have requested that maybe we use this platform to prep a surgery patient, with some information the day prior. And so I'm not at this point really worried about ancillary revenue streams and an add-on, because I think around this point of making the appointments actually happen, that a lot can build from there.
Can you talk about
Yes, Andy.
path going forward, potential acquirers, how you see that path going? Are you going to build a $1 billion company and buy Epic? What's your plan?
Yeah, so the question is, are we going to buy Epic? So right from the get-go, we're establishing partnerships, and small gathering here. So, I mean, for example, there's this company called Stericycle, and they've got a very unsexy business. They throw away syringes after hours at hospitals. They've got 80% market share. They parlayed that business into after-hours calling. They parlayed that business into sending out appointment reminders for hospitals. And at this point, they've got 80,000 doctors using their system. So, got very, very interesting conversations going on with them. And as a serial entrepreneur, I'd like to set up a potential exit from the get-go, because oftentimes it will be from a partnership.
Any particular lessons learned or things that you discovered since your time with the Accelerator? Or is things pretty much been on track since you got here?
Well, I mean, the big thing has just been simplify. Focus on one thing. And I mean, once it didn't come till after being at the Accelerator to come up with this insight of why don't we refill or backfill last-minute appointment cancellations via standby. And that's really made a lot of difference. The Accelerator has been tremendous in terms of getting meetings. I've had C-level conversations with all of the hospitals in the area that under other circumstances would have taken me a long time to break through. But the mentorship has been great. The opening of doors has been phenomenal. Just very much accelerating my own sales cycle.
Can you just evolve it? Can you talk to the value of just an accelerator to people maybe in the room who are thinking of working on an idea, thinking about applying to the ISA or really any accelerator? How you compare to your other previous startups
So my last startup was started some 6 years ago, and at the time there were literally maybe 6 accelerators out there. At this point, there's over 600, and I think it represents really a restructuring of the whole capital industry, where it's almost kind of a rubber stamp and a gateway to future financing. Angels these days tend to act and think and a lot more like VCs did several years ago. So there's a certain sophistication that's happening there. And a lot of these angels are becoming VCs, so there's not quite as much money there, come Series A, B, C, D. So, I mean, I really think it is a gate that you need to get through these days if you're going to really go for the big bucks at the end of the day. Yes?
Hi, my name is Riley. I am interested in how this product has affected the environment in the places that it's already in use. I know one of my biggest complaints in healthcare is I realize that as soon as my doctor walks in the room, they're on the clock and they are counting down the number of minutes they have to spend with me until they can move on to the next patient that is like in their revolving door of dollars or signs. Do you think that this might have a negative effect on that is happening in more and more doctors' offices, or do you see this as helping that? What do you think?
Well, the number one determinant of patient dissatisfaction is how long you wait. And that's pretty consistent throughout all academic studies. And it even determines up to 40% of your dissatisfaction with an experience. Now, what you just mentioned, there's also a direct correlation with how much you wait and how much time the doctor actually spends with you. That's a pretty big determinant of dissatisfaction as well. Well, that ratio. So we're not going to be able to create more doctors, but what we are able to do is keep the doctors busy, and take away the otherwise no-shows and give them back to people who are there. So in theory, more time spent with patients. And part of this, we're such a nascent stage startup that we don't have a lot of these case studies built yet. But the doctors with the Affordable Care Act are now they're actually paid more if they're satisfying patients more. So what we'd like to do is see really 1 year with Punctil versus the previous year, and see how much we can boost those patient satisfaction scores, and in turn get the hospitals reimbursed at a greater rate.
Have you gotten any customer satisfaction feedback yet from your experience?
Yeah, right now, I mean, we're just focused on metrics, such as we're looking to reduce no-shows by 25%, and then the no-shows that actually do occur, we're looking to backfill those to the tune of 50%, and then overall reduce the administrative burden at the facility. So those are what we're looking to prove out initially to present to investors.
Evelyn Roberts, have you looked into how these networks are affected by the number of nurse practitioners? And those as well, or can you give a little insight into that? Because I think more and more MPs are kind of taking on the role of doctors in terms of those appointments in certain cases.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a doctor shortage going on in the U.S. There's 670,000 practicing doctors, and by 2020, they're saying we're going to have a shortage of 100,000 doctors. So a lot of the work is going to be, kicked over to nurse practitioners and such. And my vision for this, I mean, I threw out there $100,000 per doctor per year. That's just about another full-time equivalent to be hired, which theoretically is going to help open up access to care and improve care in the system at large. Yes, sir.
Aaron Moore, Radiology Protocols, great job.
Thank you.
How did you come up with your pricing model, and what has been the response to that? Are they pretty receptive to it, or have you had some pushback? How did you come up with the price?
Yeah, I have had absolutely no pushback so far. I mean, seen as a veritable bargain, but really wanted to put in place a recurring revenue model. Doctors, hospitals, like any business organization, don't really like variable pricing. They like something that's flat that they can count on, and then the $99 per month, or more specifically, I've got a $299 per month minimum up to 3 doctors, and then $99 for every doctor thereafter. That comes in just under the $5,000 mark, which would trigger further administrative approval. So that's the logic that I really use to put into this. In addition, we're really keen on getting money up front, so we'll offer 1 month free on a 12-month contract, or 4 months free on a 2-year contract, which turns into just a discount of 16-17%, which is acceptable for getting that kind of cash up front.
So we got to wrap up here. So again, last question. Obviously, as a community, are there things that you're going through right now that you need some help overcoming, and what can we do for you to help move you forward?
Okay, great. Well, the state of Iowa offers certain funds for early stage companies and entrepreneurs, and in particular, there's a proof of concept fund and there's a demo fund, and the application deadline is October 13th. And either of these funds allows a 2-for-1 match. So in the case of the proof of concept fund, if we can locate an angel for $12,500, then we get a $25,000 grant from the state of Iowa. In the case of the demo fund, if we locate $50,000 in angel investment, then we get a $100,000 3% loan from the state of Iowa, which would be absolutely instrumental for us in really knocking it out of the park with these early clients. So any networking to that effect that can help us get either of those amounts would be very much appreciated.
All right. Good time to go there. All right. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.